We don't hit home runs on this podcast. We work station to station. I'm back with my battery mate, as always, Dustin, and we have Quentin and Craiger, and we're going to do a little New Year's update as well as some resolutions. Quentin and Craiger, you guys weren't on when we discussed the off-season update in December, and so I wondered, Quentin, first, if you wanted to maybe give me just some thoughts on this off-season so far for the Blue Jays.
Sure. There's not much to work with thus far. Like, unfortunately, it's been, frustrating. They're kind of spinning wheels again like they did last offseason. I came into the offseason like a little more positive, like after last season and after the result of last season, they'd be more aggressive. And while they've made offers, like it's been publicized that they've made offers, but they haven't landed anybody free agent wise, or definitely nobody significant. While, they're in the race for Soto, like it's the same as Ohtani, they got outbid. So, and there's been other cases too where they've made offers, but like, I think the front office, they basically justify it as they use the data and analytics to determine like the worth of a player, and that's what they offer. But unfortunately, the big boys are always going to outbid you. So I would have hoped that they would have made like, a significant offer, good enough to land a significant free agent, which they haven't thus far. Santander looks promising. Like the initial offer was declined because he's looking for more term. I think 5 years at a reasonable rate per year. So that's kind of still on the table, hopefully. But yeah, otherwise it's just frustrating, and like I don't know what to think, and it's really hard to maintain optimism that these guys are gonna make the team better.
That's a tough one to follow up, because I agree a lot with Quentin, but yeah, it's been frustrating. I mean, it's like we're the bridesmaids and we're never the bride, right? Like they've been in on so many of these guys. All along, I thought that they're going to end up with Santander in the end. But the problem is...
They still could.
Yeah, and they might. And, maybe they're going to get Jack Flaherty, and there's some other guys on the table. But the thing with Santander is it's kind of a double-edged. Like, they're going to have to pay like $100 million or, I don't know, 5-year deal or $20 million a year, whatever. Yeah, he came off a huge year, but the problem is he's a terrible runner. He's not a great outfielder. He strikes out a lot. Like, he's not really a contact guy. He's pretty much a one-trick pony. He's pretty much a home run guy. And if
power RBIs.
Yeah, and if those 44 home runs go down to, I don't know, 28, let's say, that's not good. And he's getting older, and the end of that deal could be problematic. So, I don't know. They backed themselves in a corner here. They might have to make that deal with him because there's so many other guys that are off the table now. And, this Bregman thing doesn't look like it's going to happen.
He's a Boris client. That's the part of the problem.
Yeah, and then the whole thing is what's Bregman going to do? Go to third, and then, well, I don't know. And then there's Alonso still on the table, and there's still talk about the Jays being involved in Alonso.
Expensive.
And then they would have to put him at DH, and then because and then if Vladdy's going to leave, so there's a lot of moving parts. I think so. To sum it up, that I don't hate Atkins as much as the rest of the prison population does. Everybody hates him. I think that he's trying his best. I think that he's in on these guys. There's not much you could do about Burns when. Burns didn't want to come to Canada. He liked the tax dollar situation in Arizona. I think that Atkins is trying. I think that he might be able to pull off Santander, and we'll have to just see how it plays out. Maybe they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat in the end here.
We'll see.
We will see. Let's talk about some New Year's resolutions. And it can be anything related to the Blue Jays. We'll go to Dustin first. Dustin, give us a New Year's resolution.
I'm going to jump down to my third one on the list here because of just what both Quentin and Craiger were talking about there is, I think the front office, this is just generally Blue Jays front office, Blue Jays leadership, even, considering, let's say, Rogers, from their perspective, what they should resolve to do is to spend like the Dodgers, spend like the Yankees, screw the evaluations that Quentin was talking about, screw all that, value stuff. Rogers has the money to spend big, and they need to spend the money to be competitive. So they should be resolving this year to spend like the Dodgers.
Dustin, do you think that should have been a 2024 resolution?
Oh, it should have been a 2022 resolution. You should have signed Vladdy a long time ago, maybe even Bo. You should have, I know they put big offers in for some of the unicorns in the last few years, and they haven't come through. But I don't think that kind of money should be reserved for unicorn. I would like to see it spread around a little, and let's build a team here that's worth competing.
One of my resolutions is going to tie very nicely into this, but I am going to wait. Quentin, do you have a New Year's resolution?
I have a personal resolution. Like when it comes to the Blue Jays, my resolution is to drop my expectations to 0, because since 2019, when Vladdy came up and Bichette, and as things progressed, they signed Springer, Hyunjin Ryu, and like good things were happening, and you kind of felt it was leading to something like, success in the playoffs or something better. And so every year I have these expectations, and I just let disappointment. Even if they made the postseason, they just lose in 2 straight, and then they were done. So this year I'm going to start with 0 expectations, because if you have 0 expectations, you can't get disappointed.
Yeah, that's actually a personal resolution for myself as well. Let's lower our expectations, and I think the fan base itself should lower expectations this year. Because
should we though?
Yes.
Based on what we've seen, like, why should we expect anything? Like with these guys in charge, like what have you seen in the last 5 years? I hate to say it, but I don't know. I've lost confidence, and I hope something better will come of this off season, but I'm just not feeling it.
So Quentin, you're emotionally hedging the season essentially. So you want to make sure that you don't get ahead of yourself in any way, shape, or form, so that if this season is another flop, that you're not completely upset by the end of it.
Yeah, it was like, well, whatever. That's what I expected, but I hope for something more. But I'm lowering the bar and not investing myself emotionally into this team this year until I have a reason to be optimistic.
Craiger, do you have a resolution?
They have to figure out what direction they're going in this year. They have to figure out what the sort of long-term plan is. Are we rebuilding? Are we just papering over the cracks this year? Are we plugging leaks? Are we just trying to get by another year? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. They have to figure out what the overall strategy is over the next few years. Like, are we going to blow it up, or, that's the thing. Like, somebody has to make a decision on, what the path we're taking.
Well, as far as we know, the plan is to compete. Like, that's what we've been told. I haven't heard any different. So
yeah,
unless there's a smoke screen,
right? Well, they're always gonna say that. But like, are we gonna go into full rebuild mode, or are we gonna actually sign some big free agents, or what are we gonna lock up Vladdy? These are the things. Like, what's the overall plan? Like, I just like that to be sorted out, so that like the fans, like us guys, can be put at ease. Like, okay, we're in full rebuild mode. This is the plan. Like right now, it just seems like there's no plan.
Yeah, I was noodling around when I was thinking of resolutions here with something like that. I couldn't quite put it together in words, but it was like something like they gotta just shit or get off the pot. Like, just figure out what you're doing.
That's right. That's exactly it, cousin.
I'm gonna jump in here, all right? Because this is my resolution. Okay, I'm gonna put on my Mark Shapiro hat. All right, it is on.
Oh God.
And I, as Mark Shapiro, resolve to determine the identity of this team. Okay, because this team, as you guys have all touched on in the last 5 minutes, it has a huge identity problem. Huge, right? So does it have money? Is it a big team? Is it not a big team? Are we maybe smaller than we think we are? It's a big problem. And the reason I say that is, this morning I'm having coffee with Rob, and it came out, and I think we need to take this with a pinch of salt. But Vladdy's whatever demands are out there, right? And as we've all touched on, they haven't really signed. They've made a trade, but they haven't signed a significant free agent. I don't think a team that is a supposedly big market team, as Dustin said in his first comment, spend like the Dodgers. A big market team, I don't think lets all of this kind of fester and become the problem that it is, right? If you're a big market team, I think you get Vladdy done. I personally don't think it is going to get done, but I think that gets done. The other thing is that if his asking price is not something you're willing to meet, well then should you not trade him?
Yep.
Right? And this is where it flips to, you're not the big market team. You are maybe a small market team, because that's what smaller markets do, is they have to move on players that are, going to be too expensive to sign, or they're just not going to be able to agree on a contract with. So like, are we the small market team that needs to trade Bo and Vladdy and rebuild?
No.
Or are we the big market team? And I think we're caught in the middle, right? Because now, as Quentin said, we've been told that the plan is to compete. And so I don't see them trading Vladdy. I think that would be a PR disaster, especially for this front office.
He's made a deadline, spring training. So when spring training starts, do you let the season play out?
Well,
him and Bichette let their last season of the contract play out and go all in, try to win, or.
Well, I think that's the assumption of what they're planning on doing,
and hope for the best next offseason.
Yeah, and there's two that need to tango here to, I don't think either Bo or Vladdy have any motivation to sign anything right now.
No, for different reasons, but no.
Yeah, for different reasons. But, I agree, Al. I think that, that's why I said they need to spend like the Dodgers. This is what I think they are, a big market team with a small market attitude, and it's frustrating to me right now.
That's it.
Yeah, I think Dustin's dead on right. They have the money. I totally agree with him, and it is a big market, and we just we're spending like the Cleveland Indians. It's a joke.
But Craiger, we're not like, I don't know if we're actually spending like the Cleveland Indians. This is again the problem. It's like we're spending $20 million on Chris Bassett, right?
Okay, I'll rephrase it.
And Brio, Springer.
Yeah, like there's tons that, like, just those players alone are probably almost $100 million, right?
Yeah,
like,
the payroll's up there.
I know the payrolls. I know exactly where the payroll is.
No success to match.
That's right. Yeah, the payroll's up there, but like Dustin said, like, we behave when it comes to negotiations, we sort of behave like we're a small market. That's what I'm like. I think that's what Dustin meant, and that's what I meant.
Do you think that this is because this is a Toronto thing?
No.
You don't think this is like center of the universe, like, kind of thing, thinking?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Toronto's always like telling itself that we're a world-class city, right? And, we're the third biggest city in North America, right? But do you think it's like we're the only Canadian team, so therefore we're kind of like smaller, but then we're Toronto, so we think we're like this, Goliath or what have you?
I don't know. I think it's like Craiger was saying, it's kind of an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. And and they, they got lucky early in the 20s with Bo and Vladdy coming up, being young, cheap, and really good. and they were able to, utilize them while they were cheap, build around them, spend money on Springer and Ryu and Bassett and all these players that we have now, Gosman. And now these guys, these two superstars that you've built around are going to be expensive, and, they don't want to, do what it takes to keep building around them.
That's right.
But they haven't won with them. So what do you do? Like, move forward, sign these guys? But, like, there's been no success thus far. Like,
you should have signed them 3 years ago. I mean, at this point,
Well, Vladdy, there was a contract offer to Vladdy after the 21 season that he just declined. It was, $150 for 7 years. And
probably was insulting, actually.
It's almost like they make offers for the sake of making offers. So they say, well, we tried. We offered this guy this, that guy that. We were doing our best, but it's not. You're not going to, like, outbid anybody with these contract offers.
So, Quentin, here's the whole thing. It's like Dustin said. It's either shit or get off the pot. You either trade these guys, you either sign them for what they're worth and whatever, or you blow it up and these guys, you trade them. Those are the two options. I think those are the two options. And somebody has to make that decision what the option is.
And they're not going to do either. That's what's going to happen. They're not going to do either. They're not going to do either.
They're going to do one of them. What do you think is going to happen? What's your prediction of the result this time next year? Where's Bo and Vladdy?
Not in Toronto. Neither of them.
But what happened? Why?
Here's what's going to happen. All right. So they're not going to be able to agree on a contract before the season. Okay. They're not going to trade Vladdy because that would be supremely unpopular. Also, it would be supremely unpopular because of who would be doing it. Like the two people involved are not very popular in the city already. Okay. So they're going to start the season.
Yeah. I get you. I agree. But are they going to try to sign him in his free agency? That's the question.
Well, good luck. When he's taking offers from the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox,
yeah, but they've been competitive with money. They've been competitive with those teams, with the last two big free agents, with money on them.
For sure. And Dustin,
Vladdy,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Vladdy does like Toronto and wants to be in Toronto. So they've got some angle there. I think they can be competitive. And
they will be competitive. But
compared to Shohei and Soto, Vladdy is the one player that out of those three that Toronto could actually sign in that
for sure
situation. I
for sure. But I think what's going to happen is they miss the playoffs. He goes to free agency. He's going to play out the year. He goes to free agency, and the same thing is going to happen. They're going to be a finalist for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and they're not going to get him. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be exactly the same.
The Jays will be in the top three.
And you know what? And because the Jays have no farm system and no hopes, and other teams are looking more, like Boston is more exciting, right? They can go play with Rafael Devers and all the young players they have coming up. He's gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna go to Boston. We'll see. I don't even know how much money he's gonna get, but he's off.
Whoa! Never mind the young players coming up. They just signed a bunch of free agents too. They got a lot of free. They got like 4 big free agents or something. They just signed Boston.
Yeah, and they have a big time farm system coming too. So that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna play out the year. Now you want Bo? Bo is just like either. I can see him getting traded because Bo is not signing at all, not even close.
I agree. I think they're gonna sign. I think they're gonna. Okay. Well, there's two worlds. One where they do as we're all kind of expecting, and they're kind of plod along and don't make the playoffs or just squeak in or whatever. Right. And at the deadline they trade Bo, and then they can't trade Vladdy for the reasons you say, and they're going to try and sign him in the offseason. I'm not so pessimistic as you to say that he's going to definitely go, but I can see that happening.
I'm just making a prediction.
I think you brought up something there. Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying he's like, yeah, it's possible that if they stump up, $450 million or whatever, that he does come back to Toronto. But I just don't see that happening. I just don't. I think there's going to be more attractive options for him.
Yeah, you're right. you brought up something there that I think feeds into my next resolution. So I'll say that here now. And this is for Ross Atkins / whatever new manager is in his place by the end of the year. That person, whoever they are, needs to resolve to strengthen the farm system. The Blue Jays need to be better at the draft. They need to be better at trades and international signings. The pipeline needs to be stronger. We just have not seen the kind of success that a team like this needs to, we can talk about free agent signings all you want, but we've seen from the last few years, I think part of the failure that this team has had in signing big free agents is that there's just no pipeline. There's no young superstars. There's no excitement. Like you just talked about, the Bostons are exciting because of the young players that are coming up. We've got some young players coming up that are interesting, but they're not what we need. So yeah.
There's a couple of good acquisitions last year, like Lo Profito, Will Wagner, and then you got young guys like Barger. So there is there's guys like use his assets or maybe develop into something more. So
Quentin, they just kind of did the rankings of farm systems, and I think they're like lower. They're even lower this year. They're like number 26 or something in the majors.
They're one of the worst.
Farm system. They're one of the worst.
Yeah, I'm with Dustin on this. We talked about this before, on previous podcasts about how bad the drafting has been with Ross Atkins. Look, I talked earlier about it. His, the way he pursues free agents, the trades, and I think he's fairly savvy when it comes to that. But the draft record has been horrendous ever since, maybe Bichette, and, that's about it. Like, his draft record's been terrible. And even the guys they drafted and then traded away for prospects, and everybody said, oh, they shouldn't trade that guy away. He's going to be a superstar. None of them turned out. Even the ones he traded away didn't turn out. So, the draft record's been horrendous, and that's something that is causing this team to be in the position that it's in, because you don't have the farm system, you don't have these prospects to trade away, and you don't have this pipeline, like Dustin said, coming up, and that's a huge problem. So we're in this battle against 30 other teams for free agents, just to plug the gaps. You know what I mean? Like
29 of which are in the United States of America.
Yeah. So that's the real problem here. It's not, everybody's talking about like Ross Atkins ain't signing this guy and he didn't sign that guy and this and that. Well, the free agent thing is just a thing to me to sort of augment, your team and to
Definitely
add things to the team. The basis of the team should be the farm system and your drafting record, and it's been terrible on all counts, and that's why we're in this position.
Well, and I think, Craiger, to add on to that, I think given where these guys came from and what was kind of promised and what the whole reason they were coming in is, I think you can reasonably expect that it should have been better, right? Like maybe it's not this bad, and maybe it's not, Tampa Bay,
even if it was average,
that good, but it has to have been better. Like you're right. The reason we're in this spot where we're pinning all of our hopes on free agents as well as two players who they see the door. They can see that door at the end of the hallway, right? And we're pinning all of our hopes on that because we have nobody coming
because the cupboard is bare.
And that was the complaint when they came when they took over for Alex Anthopoulos.
Yeah.
They blamed Alex Anthopoulos for emptying the cupboards because
Alex
Anthopoulos gave up everything they had in the farm system for trades. But what have they done? It's 6 years later. Like, have they improved it?
No.
There you go.
Not at all.
No. Quentin, can we get another New Year's resolution?
Yeah, if I were to speak on behalf of Ross Atkins, I say a resolution would be just do something like to earn the respect of like us, the fans, even your bosses at Rogers. Like, just do something to like show you're really like on board with improving this team. Like after last season and last off season, not making moves to improve the team. I think this is like the last opportunity to, earn our respect as fans and like give us something to motivate us to go to the ballpark. Like you think they want to, you think they'll be motivated. Like just like now's the time. If not now, then it's going to be never.
Can you give us like maybe an example, like something that you might have in mind?
Like lockdown Vladdy. If it's a lot of money or a bad deal, like if it's just, because he's a fan favorite. If you lock down the face of the franchise, and I think we have something moving forward. Now we have Vladdy locked down and we'll build around him and we're going to make this team a World Series contender. But there's nothing. We got one year of Vladdy and Bo left. And like, what do we have to, take this team back?
What about making a tough decision?
Like in terms of a trade? Like,
I don't know. Like, it just seems like every decision is very like safe, right? It's like, well, we've done our homework and this is what we're doing. And it's like, what about something that's just like, you know what?
And then you missed the playoffs because you were too safe.
Well, yeah, but what about something that's just like, you know what? This is the feeling I had, and I made the deal. And it's because he's always telling us about how much work he's done on things and how much. And I get it. There's a process, right? But I don't know, something that feels a bit more like gut. You know what I mean? Like gut, like like instead of just he's
analytics,
kind of turning to his analytics team to kind of say, all right, guys, can you give me a solution on this?
Something dramatic, something like just, screw this. I'm going to like make this move and see what happens.
I don't think he has the stones to trade Vladdy, but I don't know. Maybe it comes in the form of that. I don't know.
Like if I were to draw a parallel, like Masai Ujiri trading DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard, 1 year left of his contract, a massive gamble based on, look how, and it worked out.
It certainly worked out.
The chances of Ross Atkins actually following through on that resolution is, like a 300-pound person sticking to their resolution to, stick with the gym. It's like it's.
If I were him, that's the resolution I made. I gotta.
It might happen, but oh man,
he's got less of approval rating than Justin Trudeau does from Canadians.
Exactly.
At this time, you know what I mean? Like,
oh wow, shots fired.
No, he does. I agree with that. Yeah.
No, and Craiger, I know
you must know that.
Stick up for him a bit, but like,
sure.
He should. I think it's deserved, right? I think Ross. I think the management on this team, and I'm not gonna say got lucky, but like they had a couple fortunate signings like Robbie Ray, Marcus Simeon that really worked out, right? And they just couldn't, like, they just can't see. They Craiger gushes about the 2021 team and everybody else does as well for good reason, right?
Yeah,
it was for me, it just they've never been able to get beyond that.
Those 4 years from 2020 to 23, they missed the playoff once in 2021. And the ironic thing, that was a team. Like, that was a team that really could have competed for a World Series.
Yes.
Simeon, Robbie Ray, Cy Young, Vlad.
I've said this all the time. Yes.
That was a team that could have done damage in the playoffs, and they missed the playoffs.
Everybody was afraid of them. Like, there were teams. There were teams that, like, I watched. I got the MLB network. I watch it all the time, and all these top dogs were saying, the word on the street was nobody wanted to face the Blue Jays in the playoffs that year, and I think they missed by what, one game.
One game.
Yeah. So, that was the year they had a pretty potent lineup. Everything was,
Everyone was clicking, Bichette was good, and Alec Manoah was up and coming.
Yeah. Everything. Simeon, led the, MLB in home runs all time, second baseman that year. It was clicking. It was happening. And it didn't happen.
Well, wouldn't it be nice to be a team like that again? A team that like is
that team was fantastic to watch,
right? But even in like the 2015, 2016, like that, those teams had like gumption, right? Like those teams is like, I don't know, you don't want to face, you got a couple guys on base and like you got Donaldson and
they had
coming
the
up,
bats.
like, ooh, right?
And you never felt they're out of it. they'd be down by a couple runs, but it never. But now the team last year, like you're down by a couple runs, seventh, eighth, you know the game's over. But back then, like they were never out of it.
But that's back to what Quentin was saying. If they lose Vladdy, if they lose him, and they don't make this deal, and blah blah blah. Like if I have to go to the ballpark this year, and not this year, but sorry, the next year, and Vladdy's out of the lineup, and like I mean, what am I going down there for? Like they're like the rest of the guys, like
tickets aren't getting cheaper either.
Yeah, like it's not even worth going down there. Like I'm going down there to watch, I don't know, Varsho, this guy, that guy. Like, are you kidding?
Joey
me? Like,
Loperfido, Shag
at
Flies.
least, Loperfido, whatever. At least Vladdy gives me that opportunity. He's gonna smash the, thing out of the park, and maybe I don't know.
The Vladdy thing, right? Like, let's say you're like, all right, Vladdy, we'll give you your $450 million over 12 years,
maybe
or whatever.
500, yeah.
Right? Maybe 5, whatever it is, right? Like, let's say you give it out, and like personally, I don't know. I don't know if I would do that personally. Whoever's in management now is very unlikely to be around when. Do you know what I mean? Like towards the end of that deal, very unlikely, right? So it's like with Quentin said, you could get like an easy win. Now it's an expensive win, but like you get like a big win with the fans. Oh yeah, they signed Vladdy, right? And like the next five years are probably like, maybe like, let's 5 to 7 years are probably on lock, right? But I don't know. Ross Atkins. Craiger, do you have another resolution?
No, I don't. I just think that if this team is going to rebuild, and if that's the plan, and we're not going to, be a contender this year, I'm with Quentin. Like, I at least want to go down there and see Vladdy bash out, a few hits and maybe a few dingers and blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to see somebody come up to plate that could make a difference and do something special at any given moment, even if we're going to have a bad season. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. They have to decide what they're doing. And, but I don't want to go down there this next season after this and just see total garbage.
I got a joke one. Speaking of the on-field stadium entertainment, I think the stadium entertainment crew, whatever you want to call it, they need to resolve to get some new cheers and chants. Tone it down about 60%. I don't want to hear everybody clap your hands 4 times an inning.
That sounds familiar.
Change that up. Get something, be a little more classy. That's just change it a little bit, something.
You're right though. That stuff has been like, Quentin, how long have you heard all those like sound bites, and it's the same. It's been the same for like 20 years. As long as I can
remember, yeah.
As long as you can remember, yeah.
The horn going after they win.
The foghorn?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with the foghorn. I'm with Dustin. Like, I don't need those cheerleaders coming down in my section in the Canada Dry bleachers there, doing that whole routine Dustin's talking about. There's just a bunch of nonsense. Like, that kind of shit should be going on organically. With the fans should be coming up with that shit. It shouldn't be like, I don't know, a bunch of teenage schoolgirls coming down there dancing around them in my section trying to say, everybody clap their hands. It's just total nonsense.
All right, so I'm gonna try to take this in a positive. My goal of this episode was to be like, let's have some good resolutions, right? So I resolve to personally, Blue Jays road trip, Craiger. I want to do one this year.
Okay. All right. I'm in.
I know you're in. I know. I definitely know you're. And you know what? Let's include Buffalo in that too, right? Because that isn't a far road trip.
Look, I went there last year. I asked you to go.
I resolved to make it to a Blue Jays game that is not in Toronto.
Nice. That's a good one.
What about road trip to Steinbrenner Field in Tampa Bay to see the Rays?
That's a hard no for me.
I was gonna say like, yeah, I was gonna say spring, like a resolution to go to spring training. I'm not quite ready yet for, but yeah, I don't know if you want. I guess you could really get some up close. I think it's 12,000 in Steinbrenner Field, right? That fits. So, if you're in Florida, and the Jays are playing, like, be a good one to check out.
The only one I had left here was that the team needs to resolve to stay healthy. I think last year's season, partly, the failure of it was due to especially Bo's injuries, and there's a couple others. And, I really want to see a season. It's funny you guys mentioned 2021 as, a season. That was probably the last season we saw Bo and Vladdy play a whole season together.
That's
uninjured and without, any issues.
And performing at a high level.
Performing, yeah.
Yeah.
I got one for John Schneider.
Yes, do it.
Maybe a resolution to let your pitchers pitch. When your starter's pitching a shutout in the 6th inning and he's approaching 100 pitches, maybe let him continue. Not bringing a random guy from the bullpen to wreck the game for him.
My resolution for John Schneider is now that he has, another guy who can run, Andreas Jimenez, let's change it up. Let's play
small ball.
Let's swing for the fences let's play small ball when we can, and let's swing for the fences when the opportunity presents itself. And I do think John Schneider kind of has that in his locker, but I think it's been suppressed a little bit over the last couple of years, in that this is the plan and this is what we're kind of going with, and I think that ties into pitching and pitch counts and all of that. And
yeah, it's too bad.
Well, and every pitcher is going to to back themselves, right, in a particular game. But I remember hearing Kevin Gosman where he just said, some games I'm like, I just have it and it just lights out and I just I want to keep throwing, right? And you're gonna haul me out of the game because of whatever arbitrary pitch count. And the thing is that other games where he's maybe effective, the Seattle series, but maybe he admitted that there are other games where he may be effective, but he's not really feeling it like he is in certain games.
Yeah, he's kind of grinding it out.
Yeah, I'm with you on the John Schneider thing. I was a big John Schneider backer. I do think a lot of his decisions are based on him wanting to stay employed the last year or so, but and not have to ride the buses in the minor leagues. But yeah, I'm with you, Quentin, on that one.
I don't know. I'm not with him. I'm not with Quentin on that one. I just think it's a major league baseball problem across the board where these it's not just I don't know. I watch tons of baseball. I'm sure you do, Quentin, too. But there's so many times when other managers are all doing this in Major League Baseball now. You get the odd outlier, but I think that Schneider's kind of doing what 90% of the other MLB managers are doing in that situation.
Yeah, you got the analytics guys, or the khakis as they refer to them.
Yeah,
in their ear, and
I just think that's a bigger, wider, broader problem with MLB and other managers doing that. You know what I mean? You just don't see guys going complete games anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm old school. I like seeing guys go the distance. 120, 140, 160 pitches, whatever it takes. If they're I'm with you. Stuff, and
I'm with you on that.
I miss that part of baseball.
I do too.
Maybe it's John Schneider just going rogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we want. But do you not think that that would gain some respect from fans? No, he doesn't, because he likes being employed, right?
Yeah, and he does Major League team stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think now there's always going to be a group of this fan base that doesn't like John Schneider, right? But I feel like if he if there was a noticeable change in how he managed games, he let pitchers go a bit longer.
Yes.
Started to like make the fans would like it. Of course, they would love it,
I agree.
right?
Yes, 100%.
But it's I think he's given
he doesn't
his
do that.
his file folder, and I think he kind of goes on. But at the end of the day, like if this season starts to go sideways, right? Like he's probably gonna get fired anyway, right? Because there might be other moves in the organization. Like, well, I don't know. I think the whole John Schneider thing is like, yes, I understand that he doesn't want to ride minor league buses anymore, and what keeps him employed is following the game plan. But like, don't you want another job in the bigs, right? Like I feel like most teams would like, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. You know what I mean? So anyway,
a manager should manage at least a little bit.
Should.
We've talked about this before. I mean, it's for me, it's hard to judge managers because I think the biggest sort of success or failure point of a manager is whether or not they can get their team to like trust them and believe in them and do what they say. And we're not in that clubhouse. We don't know what the team feels about John Schneider, so it's hard to evaluate him other than these, on the field tactical decisions, which I don't think John Schneider really has a whole, it has a problem with necessarily. I think like Craiger was saying, it's probably a lot to do with just his as a MLB wide kind of strategy for. I think it has a lot to do, especially with the how far the pitchers go into games, is a lot to do with the fact that speed, like velocity and spin, is much more valued now in the game, and just guys' arms can't do that kind of, they can't throw 100 for 8-9 innings, right? It used to be, I think, that the guys threw a little bit slower, and they can go the distance, and maybe that's a trade-off that is going to come in the future. We'll see. I would like to see that, but I don't know if it's a John Schneider problem or if it's a league problem. But
now, here's one last thought on that. Like, we all talk about free agents, we talk about trades and big name acquisitions, and that. When are the Jays? Here's a hot take. When are the Jays going to get a bona fide, and I mean bona fide, manager like Terry Francona or, I don't know, like
Alex Cora?
Yeah, Alex Cora. One of these top dogs. Like, we talk about signing all these free agents and this and that, and to me, the one thing lacking is a bona fide manager from the outside. Like, why do we have to promote Schneider from the minor leagues?
Well, I think the answer to that, Craiger. Like, someone from outside is going to bring.
No, I think it's just money. I think.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think the reason why John Schneider was, it's money. There's the reason why the number is money, but I think also, this. If John Schneider is a Jays guy, like he's literally only ever worked for the Jays, right? So it's like he's part of the program. You can put him in that spot, and that he's gonna like quote unquote execute the game plan, right? That's what I think that's why. And we did a little. I don't know if it was last season or maybe the season before, but we kind of went through all of the Jays managers, like in their history, and I think maybe like there's Bobby Cox, Jimmy Williams,
Cito.
But the point was, Quentin, was that so when someone becomes the Jays manager, he doesn't leave and go to greater things.
Yeah,
like that's
the only one is
he's
Bobby
done.
Cox.
Bobby Cox, Jimmy Williams, John Farrell went on to
Red Sox.
I guess have a little Red Sox.
For 1 year,
won a World Series, but like basically like Charlie
and then
Montoyo,
went into oblivion.
Right? Even John Gibbons. John Gibbons has not been a manager with any other major league team. He's been a bench coach. He's a bench coach of the Mets right now. But if you go through their, even Jim Fregosi didn't act like that was the end of the line. Do you know what I mean? That was the end of the line for him, right? So the Jays have this weird thing where they seem to be a graveyard
managers.
for hopeful managers.
No, I don't think it's a graveyard. I think it's the opposite. I think it's that they try to cheap out. They try to save money on the managers and cheap out and go, well, we'll get a guy within, or we'll get, out of the blue, we'll get John Gibbons or something because he's cheap, and they don't seem.
No, and you know what? I would agree. Actually. Sorry, I don't mean a graveyard. Like maybe a graveyard of prospective young managers, right? Like it seems like, but anyway.
I wonder if James Click is the future manager. I mean, he'd be probably the closest to what you guys are asking for, right? Because didn't he win a World Series with Houston, and he's on the Blue Jays right now. It's just, is he going to want the manager position? Because now he's like some kind of strategist or some shit, right?
Well, I think he's more of like a general manager type. But like,
that's right.
I'm not even really like, I don't know. That one's a weird one too, right? Like, I don't know. I don't understand why you have this guy who, as you said, he won a World Series with Houston, and he's kind of just like sitting there, kind of supporting. Like if you wanted to make a change, it'd kind of be easy, right? But all right, I have one more resolution. Does anyone else have anything else to add before
I'm out of them.
I just have something a little off topic.
Okay, go ahead.
If you were the Blue Jays, would you have taken Verlander at $50 million for 1 year?
No,
too old.
What do you got to lose? $15 million? Yeah, he's 42, but
$15 million you could spend on another player. So I would stay away from the Max Scherzers and the Justin Verlanders of the world. Not for me.
If we needed pitching, maybe. Yeah.
My argument is he's pitched 2 no-hitters at the Rogers Center. I know it's ancient history, but
fair. Okay. All right. Yeah. Like the thing is, I don't know if it was like 5 million, not 15, or like even less than, maybe it's like less than 10. You might be able to convince me. 15's a lot.
If he's healthy and like starts 20, 25 games.
How many games is Kate Upton gonna attend? We need to ask. That's the question I want to answer to. That maybe I'm in for that reason. Maybe I'm in for that.
There you go. Yeah, she's not Taylor Swift, but yeah, she'll work.
I was a big Kate Upton fan. But anyway, my New Year's resolution is that, okay, so I guess maybe this is like a Mark Shapiro thing, is that Kevin Kiermaier is brought on
to manage
a significant role in the front office. I want him selling Toronto, right? I want him out there identifying.
Someone's got to do it.
Well, I don't know. I don't really. He doesn't. And you guys can argue me the other way, but he doesn't really strike me as someone who would be like a coach or a manager. I feel like he seems like more of like a front office guy. That's the feel I get. But Kevin Kiermaier seems to have loved Toronto. And he was only here for like a year and a half. Like, get him in a front office position where he's, talking to players and something with as I said, a significant position in the front office, right? Like, because this front office is full of these kind of management types. Like, I want a player. Get someone who's played the game at a high level in that front office. There's my resolution.
I like that. I'm down for it.
Did you guys see that quote from there's a quote from Ross Atkins? I don't know exactly what it was, but he basically was saying like players want to come to Toronto. It's a great city. People love the team. We have no problem like attracting players, but they're not. So like he's kind of incriminating himself by saying like, so if it's not the city, it's not the team, then it's you. Like he's basically like saying Toronto's a destination.
It's a lot of things, right? It's a lot of things.
But it's funny for him to say that when you're not really like someone in your position isn't like attracting players to come to the city and play for this team. But you're
he's
saying
not doing his job, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, and he's kind of helping point that out.
I wonder if Kiermaier is going to end up on Sportsnet You know, is he going to be like the Caleb Johnson kind of guy? He's got the.
I'm sure there's a job if he wants it.
I could see that. I could see that. I don't know. I selfishly want him not on Sportsnet and involved in the front office. It's just
I agree. Yeah.
Right. That's just it. And as I said, like, I don't know. Like, imagine you're presenting to a prospective player, and one of the guys in the meeting is like, it's Kevin Kiermaier, 4-time Gold Glover. Right, like he's like, guys, like this is a really good.
Where do I sign?
Play. Right, yeah, and he looks you in those eyes with those like those blue eyes, and like how are you gonna say no to that, right?
True.
Anyway, that would be another Mark Shapiro resolution to like get him more involved in and it seems like he posted that video where it's kind of seems like something's happening, but I just worry that it's going to be some position that's of little significance, and it's kind of more of a, community ambassador, or he's like,
advisor,
or he shows up. Yeah, like some shitty advisor role, when really it's like, this is a guy who's like, he's been on the Dodgers, boys. Like he's seen like the behemoth from the inside. And he even said like the game plans and stuff that they provide, it's different, right? And it's I think he basically said it's better. So yeah, there you go. That's what I would like.
Well, we need all the help we can get, so I'm on board.
Sure,
love it.
Do. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here, boys. Thank you very much for joining me.